Good evening. My name is Nahum, and I would like to start uh, with this. Space is a critical territory that must be inhabited artistically as well as scientifically. In my work, I like to challenge the fact or the assumption that space exploration is the domain of science, technology, politics, military, industry, and that, on the contrary, space does not belong to anyone. Stealing a quote by Nicola Triscott, I like to remember that our relationship with space is deeply rooted in every culture around the world. I stand by the idea that artists, poets, anthropologists, musicians, philosophers, and other cultural practitioners bring unique perspectives to the debates and issues around space activities. Take, for example, issues of economics, gender, territory, land ownership, and exploitation can be thoroughly rethought if we transpose them into outer space. With the establishment of the Cosmic Institute back in 2011, as Hiroshi mentioned, and with the support of the Arts Catalyst in London, we started this organization to connect the dots around the world with all the people that are doing this kind of cultural activities, ranging from space feminism to questioning why do we need more colonies, not on Earth, but perhaps on Mars. What paradigms are we exporting to other places? And just to ask questions about how we are doing things in space and if we have learned from what we have done in our planet. For example, rethinking borders and divisions in our planet. Right now on the screens you see quotes from astronauts that reflect after their space flight how from space you see a very different image of Earth, very different from that image that you get on every school around the world with different colored countries. With this in mind, for example, we started a series of projects with Cosmica Journeys, to work with refugees around Europe and immigrants in Mexico and South America to share this space view, give our hands to them and say that no matter where they are, no matter how difficult their struggle is, we learn from space that Earth is the home of all. Space and its history is dominated by affluent and industrialized nations, often tied to military and economic imperatives. And in turn, space activities and their narratives have further cemented the imperial and economic dominance of these superpowers, reinforcing existing gender, racial, and colonial orders, as I mentioned before. The question of how to envision and imagine a different experience, a different view of our space, is something that artists can do. What would you feel? What would you think? What would you see if you go to space? If space travel was open for everyone and not only to 90% of only men in astronautic crews, no single woman on the moon? So with this idea, I started this project. It's a hypnosis project, but it's also a space project. I have been hypnotizing people in many countries and putting in their mind a memory of something that didn't happen, of course, but using false memories and hypnosis, they go to the moon, and they have a personal and intimate experience of walking on the moon, and at some point turning around, looking at the horizon, and seeing a blue halo emerging from this horizon. In other words, experiencing an Earthrise. What would you feel? What would you see in this kaleidoscope of diversity that we are as humans? Ultimately, I believe that space is not about always going out, escaping, or having a plan B. It's about making sense of ourselves, about the constant creation of meaning, stories, and the exploration of existence itself. Either by launching an artwork into outer space that asks you to embrace the unknown, an unknown presence in a different time, in a different place, or by feeling our bodies losing their gravity, their materiality, and instantly becoming weightless in a place where you and nothingness are the same thing. Only by reaching out the other, then we can remember that we cannot exist alone. The precondition of life is that existence is a shared affair. That's all I have to say. Thank you.